Welcome back everybody, this is Snarist, and I'm back with my RWBY Grimm Eclipse difficulty solo walkthrough. This is chapter 9, the Grand Tour, and I'm playing as Blake again, and I'll be using her for this chapter and the next chapter before the game is over. The sequence here is not easy, but it's relatively simple. Just weave in and out of these goalposts here, or I guess these pillars, and try to catch them all with the stun blaze, or at least half of them and the other half as well. Use the ultimates to keep them at bay. Drop it right in the middle of them, or use it to help get away. It's pretty easy to charge one up, so you've always got something on hand. And I don't think there's going to be a ton new to add apart from certain encounters within this level. So I just want to try to take this time to say that, you know, just a little bit of discussion going forward with plans for my my channel at the moment, with some videos I've got ready to record some commentary for and what's going to be next on the channel. The first things first is, in a week's time, Code Vein 2 comes out, and I've been really looking forward to Code Vein 2. I will admit, the choice to go from, you know, definitive Souls-like to a Souls-like that's also open world, I'm not a big fan of that. I've never really been a big fan of that. Okay, here now I need to discuss something. So I died in the sequence, but what I didn't realize is it spawns you in at the end door where you're supposed to get out. So you need to run back through this area, get to the stairs, and it'll trigger that moment where Dr. Merlett's talking to you through your scroll, and then the fight begins. So it's the robots that finished me off, so you need to be careful of them and make sure not to get caught up. As I was saying before, I'm looking forward to Code Vein 2, and I've seen some good things about it based on what I've seen, and there's definitely quite a bit of hype around it, but I don't know if it'll be better than the first one. I'll be very surprised if it is. I'm a huge fan of post-apocalyptic settings, and, you know, not seeing it present in Code Vein 2, or at least not much of it at all, is a little disappointing. And I grew attached to those old cast of characters, and, you know, it's going to be tough to say goodbye and to accept these new characters, but yeah, I think I can do that. Okay, now these tanks have to be destroyed, and then you've got to destroy the enemies that remain. Get on the other side of the tank, do a heavy attack, try to dodge and avoid them there. But it only takes a few charged heavy attacks to destroy these tanks. For some reason, it takes so much of every other kind of damage, from gun attacks to regular attacks to even ultimate attacks. And even then, with ultimate attacks, it's kind of a waste. But for some reason, 3 charged heavy attacks do the job. And if you want to, as a good strategy, which I'm probably going to employ soon, is when you get tons of enemies coming in up your behind, just go down to that little ditch there and get them all boxed in, and then use your stun blaze and you can get them all in one go. Like I was saying before, you know, quite a bit of hype around Code Vein 2. I don't know if there's going to be multiple endings. I think there will be, and even then I'm not sure how to trigger them. But I think a walkthrough idea for that could be, you know, either, you know, how do you get the true ending from a fresh game? You know, do you need help even just beating the game once? Like, what's the deal there? Or another type of walkthrough I could do is to keep on going through, because I'm sure you'll be able to do New Game Plus with all these other difficulty levels and adjusting it. I'd be curious to see if anything would change if I went like New Game Plus whatever number, but of course then, because this is a Souls-like that's open world, I'm not going to be as likely to do that, because my time is very valuable and I'm not sure I'd even bother, and these days I'm very burnt out on a lot of open world games. This is what I mean here. The strategy works well against the soldiers in particular, the red robots. Just keep them locked in there and keep using the stun blades, and use your ultimates as well. So Code Vein 2, I'm not sure what to make of that. I'm still going to play it. I'm still going to buy it. I'm still going to play it. There's a couple of smaller indie games on Steam that I've noticed right now that I've got my eye on, that are either out now or about to come out. You know, I'm not just going to play shit games for the sake of creating a top like 5 or 10 best and worst list. I would buy and play those games because I genuinely think that they'll be good, not to capitalize on anything. And if I can make walkthroughs out of them, even better. It's partly why, in a couple of months' time, when that new 007 game comes out, because I have played a few of them before on the PS2 and I've really enjoyed them, I was kind of excited for this, but then I realised what they'd done to a lot of, you know, different game franchises, including James Bond in recent years, and how they've sort of portrayed him, and, you know, how they wanted de-emasculate him. I'm just not a big fan of that at all, and I know they'll do it in this game, of course they will. So even if this game did have multiple difficulties, and because it's made by the Hitman developers, and so there's a lot of chances for you to do certain missions in multiple ways, I don't think they'll allow that kind of freedom. It gives off the vibe of a movie game, like it's a game that you can't really freely explore or take down enemies in different ways, or get rewarded or punished for playing certain ways, or being aggressive, killing, or going stealth, using disguises, that sort of thing. Because, yeah, a Hitman game, a 007 game in the formula of a Hitman game would work wonders. But I don't think they're going to do that. Because besides the cinematic, we don't really see much of the gameplay. Like, I don't think we've ever got any solid presentation on what the gameplay actually looks like of a single mission. No demo, no nothing, and the game comes out in 2 months. Less than 2 months now. But besides Code Vein 2, there's also going to be My Hero One's Justice. No, actually, I tell a lie. My Hero All's Justice. And I'm a big fan of One's Justice too. So this will be quite interesting, because I don't know what a lot of the other modes are going to be, but anything from an arcade mode to a mission mode especially, or beating the story with all S ranks, whatever sort of scoring system the game has, that'll be what I make a walkthrough on. But for everything else, I'm just going to play at my own progress. Now this is what I'm talking about. This is the last fight in the entire mission. And you look at the time now, and there is a long way to go, because this is a very, very long sequence. It's not so much taking out waves of enemies or waiting for the upload to happen. The more enemies you kill, the more that upload will progress. So you need to kill, and you need to kill all of them in order to get that progress up. And in the final encounter of this part, you're going to be facing multiple of those white robots, and they're dropping bombs like crazy. And unlike in the previous chapter, you do not have a lot of room to run around in or exploit them in by getting them caught on geometry. Because at a long distance they will throw those bombs and they will kill you. So by all accounts, there are several times where I should have died in this, but I didn't. A lot of it comes down to skill, a little bit of luck. So yeah, good luck with the sequence. I'm just going to talk a bit more about going forward with the channel. So Code Vein 2 and My Hero All's Justice is what I got my eyes on. I'll probably end up making stuff for All's Justice before Code Vein, because Code Vein 2 seems like the kind of game I've got to take my time with. It's only a week away, so I'm going to be pretty busy doing commentary for some other games. And speaking of those other games, right now I'm playing Dead Space 2 on Zealot. I'm halfway through it from my first playthrough in like 4 or 5 years. I reckon I could probably finish the Zealot playthrough and turn it into a walkthrough before Code Vein 2 comes out, and I'll save my hardcore walkthrough for another time, because I'll need to do it on a weekend, because I want to try and do it all in one sitting, which is going to take me about 5.5 to 6 hours if I'm being careful and cautious and all that. Thankfully Survivalist isn't the hardest difficulty in the universe, and in fact Zealot so far has only given me a few problems when I've been caught out by things I wasn't prepared for. But otherwise, the sequences that are most dangerous to you so far, I've been able to survive them all. And of course, if you needed any help with that, you're going to have an easier time just using all of the bonus suits and all the bonus weapons and their variants that you can find in the store after getting an update, if you've got an online connection. But for those who don't, this will definitely help you. And I just noticed, I took out 2 of them before, and there's like 5 or 6 of them there. There's 6 of them, so there was 8 in total. Guys, even more than last time. But you notice those bombs explode before they get to me because I use the stun blades at the right time, but it's difficult to get the timing down because you have to keep holding the trigger and wait for it to charge up. And as I was saying before, once those 2 games have come out and I do whatever I need to do with them, thankfully there isn't another game I can think of that comes out immediately. I'm sure there'll be something that comes out of nowhere and blows everyone away. Last couple of years or so, we've been getting a lot of great indie games, and while a lot of those indie games I'm not a huge fan of just by the looks of them, and I'm sure they're fun to play, but I see what kind of games we used to get consistently in the mid to late 2000s, early 2010s, those sorts of games that I grew up playing and love, a mixture of quality and great gameplay, that don't look like Flash games. I want more of that. And we're not getting more of that. And so these indie games are about as good as we got it. And, I think most indie games are shit, whether they're shovelware or they're actual properly produced games. I don't think that really a lot of them are all that great, but yeah. As far as right now goes, Dead Space 2, I'm going to take it at my own pace. I'll get around to it eventually. And as far as the hardcore walkthrough goes, it'll be a little bit weird because the first part, I think I'll make like 4 parts out of it, because it'll be each time I make a save game, and then the final part after the last save I make. But it'll be like, I don't know, a 2-hour video, and then it'll be like a 1-hour video, and then maybe like a 45-minute video or something. It'll be very strangely paced, but you know, only the people that really care about beating hardcore are going to pay attention to it. Everyone else, they're not going to mind. You know, it doesn't seem fair to monetize the hell out of it or take advantage of making multiple videos, because if people die in certain sequences and they're going to go through it all again, it just doesn't really make sense. And it adds a little bit more credibility to the fact that I beat it in one go, and you know, I didn't die, I didn't need to make multiple saves. Just sort of looks a little bit more impressive, and it just lets you know that this isn't as bad as you think it is. But as far as the other series I got lined up that I can do commentary on once this one's done and Grimm Eclipse is finished and I'll wait for Code Vein 2, is I got God of War 3, Chaos Mode, and the Challenges of Olympus in Exile. I could probably do that next. I've still got both my Expert Mode and Pure Phillip Challenge Run for Eternites ready to go. There's also, yeah, here's a game for you. Take a shot every time I say or ah. Yeah, good luck surviving that one. But I've also got to figure out what I'm going to do for my last series on Ninja Gaiden 4, where I do an S-rank Master Ninja run with Ryu. And I thought about doing just no commentary and having music playing over the background, but I think I should do commentary, but I might use it more of a chance to talk about what I think of the game's story and what I think of the overall Ninja Gaiden narrative. Because I think there's a lot to say about it that doesn't get enough credit. You know, games where protagonists aren't given like mega deep backstories or complex of thoughts and, you know, ideologies and motivations. They just simply are what they are, but there's more to it under the surface. And I feel like that's definitely underrated. It's kind of like that trend we used to go through where villains were just evil for the sake of being evil, and then we wanted villains with nuance. But now villains with nuance aren't cool anymore because they're too try-hard. By the way, you can't exploit this area here because they will throw grenades and they will trap you in there. And also, if the Urs get too close, then they'll do their ground slam and they'll catch you in there. So I've still got to make a decision on what my next commentary is going to be as I'm playing Dead Space 2 and before Code Vein 2 comes out, and it occupies a lot of my time, just trying to play and get through it. I think I want to do God of War 3, just because out of all those games, even though I love Eternites and I've made that very clear, God of War 3 is still my second favourite in the series and one of my favourite games alongside God of War 2. So yeah, I suppose that's my decision made. My next one will be God of War 3, but you know, maybe not today, given the extent to which my throat has been pushed and how I'm not used to it. And I didn't really need to explain what's been happening at the end of the sequence here. It's just a very long sequence. When all of those big heavy dudes show up, they're going to be a problem for you, of course, but you just got to be patient, jump all over the place, use your stun blades, and just sort of wear them down little by little, no matter how long it takes. And I'll see you in the final chapter. Thanks for joining me.